Well, folks, what can I tell you? As you can see outside, the weather is good, spring has sprung, and that can only mean one thing and one thing for all us hockey fans, because it truly, again, is playoff time. Awesome stuff. Playoffs are getting started very, very soon. It's the best hockey, it's the best sports championship series tournament, if you will, in the world. And before we get to that, you know, a few weeks ago at the trade deadline, I went on a little bit of a rant about the Rangers' trade deadline acquisitions that they made. And it turns out that for the first few games and the rest of the regular season, that I was wrong, because those guys did contribute right away. I second-guessed myself about this, and I said, you know what, I'm not going to go back on what I originally said, because on paper the deal looked like shit, and I wasn't going to go back on it because I made my points, yada, yada, yada. The first game, this guy, Fred Savage, lets me know, comments on my YouTube page, how are you, Freddie? Brassard and Clough combined for 6 points out of 6 Ranger goals that they did, and they continued to contribute all the way till the end of the playoffs when Callahan scored that oh so beautiful goal against Carolina to put them into the playoffs. And again, unless the Rangers host the Stanley Cup in June or July or August or September, whenever this lockout shortened Stanley Cup playoffs ends, then I'll issue an official apology to all you YouTube viewers, including my dear viewers up in Alaska. I know who you are. But anyway, I just want to say one thing. A few episodes back, before we get into anything, I just want to say it's been, the Boston bombings have happened since the last time I did a show, and I just want to say, give my condolences to all those people up there in Beantown for these horrible, 2 pathetic excuses for human being kids that decided to do this. Thank God no one else was injured or killed. It could have been a lot worse than it was, remember that. But I just want to say that I've been in Boston. I lived there for 4 or 5 years up there, and they are tough and they are resilient. So my heart goes out to everyone up in Boston and affected by this. Now, a few episodes ago, I should say, on the show, I recommended a book, a fine piece of literature, which featured the writings of Bob Probert and co-authored by Christy McLennan. Well, here's another good one for you, folks. I'm recommending this one. We're going to have a hockey book of the month club here for you, right here on What the Puck. There he is, Theo Fleury. It's called Playing with Fire, the same co-author who helped write Probert's book. This guy, I don't know if you remember, is a feisty guy, short guy, but he was tough as nails, and he didn't back down from anyone. And it turned out at times he looked like an absolute maniac on the ice. When he played for New York, he would go after guys, spear guys. He was a heavy drug user, heavy alcohol consumer, and that was all because one piece of low-line shit named Graham James, a coach he had in juniors, sexually abused him and others, and he was affected by this. It's a great story. It tells, not only stories about the NHL, but about his problems and his battles with abuse because of this piece of garbage that, did these horrible things to him. And it's a really good read. I would definitely recommend it for all of those hockey fans. And Theo Fleury, he was just, I remember him, he was nuts, man, when he was on the ice. He didn't care if the guy, he would have gone after Zdeno Chara, probably, if they would have played against each other today. So, go out and get it, read it. Have some sad news locally here. Our minor league hockey team in Trenton, there it is, the Trenton Titans right there, a beautiful piece of jersey. Well, it turns out that they folded and ceased operations after this year. All kinds of stuff circulating around Mercer County here. Ticket sales, the scumbags who run the arena not cooperating. It's the first time in hockey history in Trenton that the first year that the guys who run the county, who also are, run the arena, go figure. Anytime you trust a local branch of government or any form of government that way to conduct business in an efficient manner, you're going to lose. But it's the first time in the history of hockey in Trenton since 1999 that they didn't issue parking passes to season ticket holders, only to those, those grateful enough to have a luxury box suite for a game. And that caused a lot of problem with some fans, and it was not good. And all these rumors saying that the county wanted more money for the lease for the Titans and stuff like that, even though Rich Lisk worked his tail off to bump attendance up in there. He tried everything that he could to make this work, and I give him so much credit for that. And we wish him luck, and I hope to see him back here in a couple years in Trenton. But he worked his tail off to try to get some bumped up attendance figures raised normally. The past 2 years we had a sellout opening night, which I don't think they've ever had in Trenton, certainly not during the T-Devils operation. So we wish him the best, and hopefully the Trenton Titans will come back. And now we're going to be deprived here in the great Mercer County of New Jersey, although we do have Princeton University up the road at Baker Rink, so we look forward to that coming this winter. Now, let's dive right into this, shall we, folks? This is what it's all about. The first round has been set for the NHL playoffs. Every single original six team is in the playoffs. I like it. We're going to see a little bit of everything in this first round matchup. We got great physicality for you in every series, including Toronto and Boston. That's going to be a dandy. St. Louis and LA, that's going to be a good one. But let's break down, starting from the East, the Penguins and Islanders. New York Islanders fell to the number 8 seed when the Ottawa Senators defeated the Boston Bruins with a late goal in the final game on Sunday, that last Sunday, and they leapfrog now. It's the first time in 6 years the Isles are in the playoffs of a winning series for the first time in 2 decades. They're looking to win a series for the first time in 2 decades. New York won the first game January 14th by 4-1, but dropped the next 4, including 3 in a 3-week span by a combined score of 16-5. I'm not going to read these pointless stats of who won what, where, when, and why in the regular season, because everyone should know, and I don't understand why more people don't get this. When the playoffs come around, throw everything that happened in the regular season out the window. It's a brand new season. Anything can happen. We saw that last year with the Los Angeles Kings. Now, here's what we got here. On paper, the Penguins, 20 times better. They have depth. Even without Sidney Crosby, they were able to successfully, continue to win even after clinching a playoff spot. They were successfully continuing to win without Crosby in the lineup. They got Jussi Jokinen, who has 5 goals and 9 points in the game since coming to Pittsburgh, trade from the Hurricanes. This kid, rookie Bo Bennett, is something else, I tell you. 12 points in his past 19 games. He might not even crack the lineup in the playoffs, but we'll see. If Dan Biles was smart, he would. Now, when Crosby comes back, we'll probably center Chris Kunitz and Pascal Dupuis, who's had a great regular season. Evgeny Malkin will skate between Iginla and James Neal. That's a good line, of course, for the Penguins, picking up Jerome Iginla. Now, let's talk about the Islanders forwards. John Tavares, up to 47 points in 48 games this year, the 2009 NHL draft. For his services, that's, of course, how he came into the NHL. He's been pretty successful for the Islanders. And you got other guys, Michael Grabner, finalist for the Calder Trophy, Colin McDonald. But, all these guys are good, but they don't just add up to Pittsburgh's depth that they have right there. Defensemen Chris Letang and Paul Martin for Pittsburgh, steady on the blue line. Addition to Douglas Murray, he's a freaking beast back there on the blue line, a former San Jose Shark. He's tall, he's aggressive, he can hit, he can provide that physical presence and so forth. So keep an eye on that defense really to kind of bounce the Islanders around a little bit. And Lubomir Vishnevsky for the Islanders, got him in the 2012 draft. Got him in a when they acquired him from the Anaheim Ducks in exchange for a second-round pick in 2013. Him and Mark Streit have been pretty good on the power play. Now, let's talk about goalies. Marc-Andre Fleury, he's had pretty good series in the playoffs. It's been shaky at times, but he'll go up against Evgeny Nabokov. He's been here before several times, know what to do, but we'll see if the old age, this 37-year-old goalie can hold on. He enjoyed a stretch of 8 consecutive games where he allowed 2 or fewer goals right there. Jack Capuano's first chance in the playoffs to prove himself. Dan Bilesma, of course, has been there, won that in 2009, won his first cup with this Penguins team, his first year at the helm. And what else can I tell you? Second best power play conversion rate in the NHL for Pittsburgh, go figure. Penalty kill is at 79%. Islanders score on the man advantage. Good things usually happen. They were 15-3-1 when converting on the power play. Now, when it all comes down to right now, folks, is my prediction. Okay? Here it is. My prediction, Penguins in 4. Why, you ask? They got a better roster, they got better depth, they have better chemistry, they got better speed, pretty much better everything than their counterparts in the New York Islanders. They also have a tough D. And goaltending, Fleury can be shaky, but will bounce back. So I want you to hear it right now, folks. Mark my words. You can take it to the bank. Penguins will sweep the New York Islanders in 4 games. Make it official. Now, as the paper flew away here. Next series. This is going to be something very special for any Canadians fans. Not only Canadians fans, but any fans of hockey who live in the great country of Canada as well. Montreal, seed number 2, versus Ottawa, seed number 7. The team split their seasons. Oh, I told you I'm not going to read that now because it means absolutely dick at this point when the playoffs start. 8 of the 9 forwards who make up those lines for Montreal, a lot of good ones, had more than 25 points. And the 9th, young Rene Bourque might have, were it not for the 21 games he missed with a concussion. All right? Montreal's 4th line, I love this 4th line, and I love the guy who anchors it, is anchored by Brandon Prust, Jeff Halpern, the former Ranger who was actually released and claimed off waivers from the Montreal Canadiens. Travis Moen or Colby Armstrong filling out. This is a good 4th aggressive unit of a line right here to get things done, folks. Get things done. Now for Ottawa, Jason Spezza is out to a back surgery. Ottawa was among the lowest scoring teams in the league. They have 3 players, Kyle Torres, Captain Daniel Alfredson, who's looking to win a cup, and I hope he does. I hope it's not this year, but I hope sometime he wins a cup because he deserves it. He's been there in Ottawa, and he's worked so hard over the course of his career, and it'd be nice for him to get one. And this kid, Jakob Silfverberg, reached double figures in goals this season. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Milan Michalek, a 35-goal scorer last season, who has 4 goals and missed 21 games with knee injuries in 2013. He's going to step up. Alfredson, of course, you don't need to talk about him. Corey Conacher from Tampa, that's going to be a good addition. Zach Smith, Greenberg, Chris Neal, blah, blah, blah. Ottawa led the NHL on shots on goal. That's a good thing. You put shots on goal, no matter what will happen, where it goes, good things could happen. But there's no sign, however, that Spezza will be back in anytime soon if that's the case. Now, I love Montreal's defense. Better yet, I love P.K. Subban a lot. He was one of the most hated guys in the league. I don't know why, especially in Boston he's hated, but he's aggressive. He's like a Claude Lemieux type dude on defense. He's got points. He puts up points. He's the leading point getter for defensemen this year in the league. He's aggressive. He's physical. He gets under people's skins. He does take the occasional penalty, but that's okay for me because, you know, it's worth it with all the good stuff that he does. And, of course, Andrei Markov will help him back there on the power play. Extremely dangerous, P.K. Subban, that shot on the point from the power play. Montreal sputtered down the stretch. The defense was a big reason the Canadiens appeared unable to compensate for the loss of hard-hitting Alexei Emelin. And what else about their D? Basically, it comes down to PK Subban. So on Ottawa's side, they got Carlson, best offensive defenseman in the NHL, next to Subban. Was the runaway leader in scoring, missed blue liners last season. Carlson missed almost 10 weeks after ongoing surgery to repair a 70% tear in his Achilles tendon. Ouch. Let's talk about goaltending. I don't like Carey Price in this series. He's too inconsistent. He hasn't proven me that he can play a solid playoff series without any issues at all. He had some issues coming down the stretch here, and he'll go up against Craig Anderson, leading all goaltenders in goals against average and save percentage this year. So look for that to be a huge matchup and Craig Anderson to be the better netminder in this series. Coaches, Michel Therrien has been in the playoffs before. McLean is first time. It's really something else that to wonder why he didn't get a coaching job until he's mid-50s. This guy's a great coach. He matches probably better. He matches certain guys better than anyone in the league. So we'll see how he handles this. Of course, he was in the playoffs last year when the Rangers beat him. And special teams penalty kill for Montreal Canadiens, 82.2% success. Strong power play with Subban and Markov at the point. We mentioned that. And, of course, Ottawa had 28 power play points in 2011-2012. Now, here is my prediction, and I'll make it official by hopefully shooting, slapping, snapping a puck or a ball into that net to make it official because you can take it to the bank. My prediction, Senators in 6. Montreal has been good this year in the regular season, and I like them a lot, but they've been kind of inconsistent, and I don't know if they can carry that through the playoffs. Montreal, like I said, was up and down. Look for Alfredsson to just step up and just be a beast. He knows his time is running out to win a cup, and he knows it right now, and he's going to utilize that to his advantage, and he's got the guys around him. He's got the young guys, the young Swedish guys around him to show him how it works here, and look for that to happen. Again, Carey Price, don't like him. If Ottawa really wants to serious about winning the series, what they would do is make PK Subban take some penalties. Like I said, he can take some penalties because he's a strong offensive player who plays a gritty type of game. But I tell you what, if they can get under his skin and make him retaliate for a couple penalties, then good things will happen for Ottawa. But like I said, I like the Senators in this series in 6 games. Take that to the bank. All right, now, one of the series who I have a personal interest in, right here, folks. Get comfortable for you. I've got a nice sun here. The number 3 seed Washington Capitals versus the New York Rangers. Hello, Cindy. This is our dog, Cindy. Hi, Cindy. You're so cute. Yes. And what can I tell you? Washington won both March 21st and 22nd. Washington has been on fire with Alexander Ovechkin going 15-2-2 in its final 19 games. Led the NHL with 32 goals, 19 in that season-ending stretch. Between the pipes, Brendan Holtby emerged as a solid goaltender. He's been phenomenal. And they got the most dangerous power play at 28.6%. Meanwhile, on the Rangers side, they went 10-3-1 in April to climb all the way to the 6th seed in the Eastern Conference, and of course they were just a machine coming down the stretch, eliminating, I think it was Buffalo, Philadelphia, Jersey, and someone else, and Winnipeg. So they were just a one-man wrecking crew eliminating people, and they got the higher seed in doing so. But every game that these two teams played this season was decided by 1 goal. Hello, Cindy. Say hi. Say hi, Cindy. Now, Ovechkin led the NHL in goals a 3rd time. Yeah, we all know that. Great. And could win the 3rd Hart Trophy, which he probably will. Nicholas Backstrom had more assists after March 27 than any member of the New York Rangers all season. Putting up points had been a problem for the Rangers until they acquired Ryan Clough and Derek Brassard. But now they've been kind of generating some chemistry. Of course, Clough is injured now, which kind of sucks. And Troy Power did a fair Alexander Semin impersonation, who's really done nothing for his 1-year contract this year. And Washington could really use Brooks-like, but he may not be available until the 2nd round because of an ongoing groin problem. Then you have Joe Ward, of course, former Nashville Predator, who's pretty much of a beast right there. Left wing Ryan Clough for the Rangers had 3 goals since he picked up from San Jose Sharks in the NHL trade deadline. Derek Brassard has been averaging a point per game. Brian Boyle is injured. Stahl is injured. Look for Hagelin, Stefan, and of course Rick Nash. And the key factor here is Richie. Richie has to play well this series. He's kind of been up and down, kind of sucked, in my opinion, the last few weeks coming down the stretch with the Rangers. But he's got to step up in order for the Rangers to have a chance at winning this series right here. Defenseman Mike Green is back. He's looking pretty good here as the playoffs get going. And Stahl is out. That's a huge loss. Look for Jan Girardi to pick up his physical play as the playoffs get going here. And goalies. Henrik Lundqvist for the Rangers. Let's face it, if it's not for Henrik Lundqvist with the Rangers, they would have been making their tea times back in February, because they would have been out of this thing. He has been absolutely phenomenal. He doesn't make it look good, make it look pretty, but he gets the job done, much like the Rangers team. He's a finalist for the Vezina, even though his records are okay. They're pretty good. This season he has a 2.05 goals against average and 9.26 save percentage. Holtby is going to get the start for Washington. He proved the big stage doesn't bother him. Last year, of course, in the playoffs, he stood tough despite the onslaught. So we'll see what happens there. Special teams, Capitals finishing a 26.8% on the PP, tops in the league. Rangers cannot take penalties in this series. They cannot take unnecessary penalties in the series. They have to stay disciplined. They can't retaliate or do anything like that. Oh my God, the world's ending. So, excuse me, folks. So they can't do that. They can't take any penalties. That's for sure. Here is my hopefully accurate prediction as a Rangers fan. My hopefully not so I don't give a crap prediction if you're just covering hockey for the hell of it like I am. I got the Rangers in 7. All right. Look for Lundqvist. There's been no signs that he would let in any shaky goals or perform shakily, if that really is an adverb. Coming down the stretch, he's going to be good. Ryan Callahan, of course, is going to step up like he does. He seems to just appear out of nowhere in the big moments, in the big games to get it done. And the chemistry that Stefan, Callie, and Carl Hagelin have will be something. I hopefully, as a Rangers fans, get my seal of approval on this one. Have the Rangers beating the Washington Capitals for the second consecutive year in 7 exuberating, exciting games. All right, now this one's going to be a beauty, folks. 2 original 6 in the playoffs. Toronto's in the playoffs. For the first time since losing to the Flyers back in 2004. It's going to be a beauty. Boston probably has the most grittiest, deepest talent in the league. Nazem Kadri has been one of the league's most pleasant surprises this season. As he was selected with the number 7 draft in the 2009 draft, he's been on fire. You got Patrice Bergeron, Krejci, Lucic, Sagan, Marchand, and of course Jaromir Jagr, the guy they picked up, rumored to go to Pittsburgh, but he came to Boston looking for a cup. The depth is so pronounced that 15 forwards scored at least 1 goal during the regular season and 7 topped double digits. Toronto, you got Kadri. And, you know, what's really scary about Toronto is that they remind me of last year's New York Rangers. They play a tough, physical game. They got grinders. They got a good mix of skill. They had a good record this season. So that's going to be dangerous right there if, in fact, my prediction is true that, the Leafs remind me of the Rangers last year. They got the 4th line of Jay McClennick, Colton Orr, and Fraser McLaren to stir things up. They got Chara on defense for the Bruins. He's been steady. Dion Phaneuf. Those 2 guys have pretty good shots from the point, plays 25 minutes a game, and of course time on the PK and the PP. Johnny Boychuk, Andrew Ference, all these guys. And of course this young guy, Dougie Hamilton, 19 years old, he was proven to be a quick learner. I like this kid a lot. He's handled the increased skill level intensity of playoff hockey coming down the stretch there in Boston, because like every game was pretty much a playoff-like atmosphere. So I like this kid a lot. I like this kid a lot. And in between the pipes, we got Tuukka Rask for the Bruins. 13 postseason games in 2010 while Thomas was sidelined with an injury. Thomas, of course, is on hiatus, probably in the Rocky Mountain in a bunker somewhere in the Rocky Mountains, praying for the world not to end tomorrow, or even sooner than that. So he's going to get the start. He's been steady. In 14 games before the playoffs, Rask allowed more than 2 goals 6 times. Not bad, right? You got James Reimer, who's been solid in between the pipes for the Toronto Maple Leafs. Has not played a postseason game since 2009 with the South Carolina Stingrays of the East Coast Hockey League. So, just some food for thought. Special teams on Toronto when they went 9-1-4 from March 16th through April 15th. Penalty kill was 42 for 44 and didn't allow any power play goals. Unbelievable. Boston finished 4th in the league at 87.1% on the power play. And my prediction. Hope all my good friends and people up in the Beantown will enjoy this series, but I hate to give it to you. I got the Maple Leafs in 7. Why? Although both teams are very physical and gritty, I think Toronto gets the edge there. Toronto reminds me, like I said, of the New York Rangers last season. We all know what happened to them. Boston will try to bump them around a little bit, I think, especially with Milan Lucic, maniac. He's a hell of a player, man. He's like a young Eric Lindros, in my opinion. Will respond with an A-bomb. Toronto will respond with an A-bomb, that physicality, and look for James Van Riemsdyk to step up and have a good series as well. So, like I said, folks, another awesome Game 7 between 2 original 6 rivals, the Maple Leafs and the Boston Bruins. It's going to be a tough, in-your-face style hockey. Enjoy it. But I got to go with the Toronto Maple Leafs advancing for the first time since they beat the Flyers in, what was it, 05, I think? So I got the Maple Leafs in 7. All right. Now we'll switch over to the Western Conference and talk about the Chicago Blackhawks and the Minnesota Wild. This is going to be a tough goal here for Minnesota. Wild were the last team to qualify for the playoffs. They had to win their season finale on the road against a struggling Colorado team after a late season slump. Oh, excuse me, that was just rude. Nearly kept them out of the postseason for the 6th straight season. Chicago, on the other hand, not too much to worry about right there if you're a Hawks fan. The Hawks. Season 21-0-3 and ended it by going 10-3-2. They had this thing locked up like, a month after the season started due to the lockout. Patrick Kaner, Jonathan Toews, and Marian Hossa lead a deep and balanced attack. On paper, this team in Pittsburgh probably have the best roster and depth in the whole league, which would make for a hell of a Stanley Cup final between these two clubs. I've already filled out my ballot for the whole championship, and it's locked away in here in a safe. But when the appropriate time comes, I will reveal it to you as we go series by series right here. Anyway, Corey Crawford, Ray Emery, 1-2 punch of a huge and outstanding, tremendously talented goaltending tandem this year. Chicago won the series 2-0-1. The difference makers in this series for Chicago: Toews, Kane, Hossa, and Patty Sharp. Contributors from their third lines are pretty prevalent as well. Victor Stahlberg, Brian Bickle, Andrew Shaw, and Marcus Kruger. I like that name, Kruger. It's just a mean name. Freddie Kruger. It just sounds like a hockey name. It's pretty cool. Now, the Wild sustained a hit earlier in April when Daniel Heatley sustained a left shoulder injury that will sideline him in the remainder of the season. Good. I hope that guy's in jail. He should be locked up somewhere on an island next to Guantanamo Bay, because for what he did by murdering a teammate, by driving like a maniac back, I don't even know when it was, when he was with Atlanta, I think, was a disgrace. And if it was anybody else, they would have done jail time. But because he's a famous athlete who makes a lot of dough, he gets away with it. Zach Parise has been absolutely everything he's advertised since coming over from New Jersey Devils, signing that huge contract. Team in goals, team in points, leads the team in power play goals and game winners, and on top line with Mika Kulevu and Charlie Coyle. Cloud Cutterbuck and one of my favorite players, Michael Rupp, who was traded from the Rangers, are the big hitters in that lineup as well. Defenseman Duncan Keith on the blue line, solid as ever. The best goals against, 102 goals allowed in 48 games in the NHL, were top 5 in the league in shots allowed per game and penalty killing. Duncan Keith. is the man. They also got Nicholas Chalmerson, and him and Keith have been together from the past month, and Johnny Oduya has been paired with either Michael Roosevelt or Sheldon Brookbank. Roosevelt, he was an absolute dud when he was with the Rangers, but now he's on a good team and he's playing pretty well. Go figure. On the other hand, for defense for Minnesota, you got Jonas Bodrin, who appears the youngest defenseman in NHL, 20 on July 2nd is his birthday. And of course, Suter ranks among the top 5 at his position in assists, points, and average ice time per game. Now let's switch to goaltending for Chicago. Crawford and Emery form one of the best tandems in the NHL. I just said that. Okay? Emery has been banged up with a lower body injury. He may not start Game 1. So look for Corey Crawford to start Game 1. On the other side, you got Nicholas Backstrom, finished tied for the league lead in wins with 24 this season. 24 wins. That's pretty freaking good if you ask me. And started 30 of Minnesota's last 32 games. And he is 3-8 with a 2.55 goals against. If Backstrom goes down with an injury, the Wild would be in trouble, because Darcy Kemper played in 6 games this season, and Josh Harding was recalled from the American Hockey League, the Houston Aeros, on April 22nd after going 1-1 on his rehab assignment. Coaches for Chicago, you got Joey Quenneville, of course, won a cup with 96, assistant coach for the Colorado Avalanche, versus Mike Yeo, his first playoff appearance as a member of the Wild coach. Special teams for the Blackhawks, number 27 in penalty killing last season, but ranked top 5. Minnesota ranked number 27 last season, but ranked 11 places higher this time, due in large part to 2 guys, Suter and Parise. Okay? Who do I like in this series, you ask? I like Chicago in 6. Why? Because they have more depth, they're better on paper, they're fast, they're a more scoring team, and they got that 1-2 goaltending punch of Emery and Crawford if it need be. But the Hawks are hoping Crawford will start most of the game. So, look for the Hawks to beat the Wild in the first round in 6 games. And I think the Blackhawks have a very good chance of going all the way this year that they did. Seems like yesterday, doesn't it, when they beat Philadelphia. So, here it is. Hawks in 6. Hawks in 6. Hawks in 6. All right, here we go. We got the Ducks and the Detroit Red Wings out west. The number 2 seed, Anaheim, versus the number 7 seed in the Detroit Red Wings. The Wings had to go the final night of the season to extend the longest current Stanley Cup playoff streak of 22 seasons. Could you imagine if they would have not gotten it and missed? Oh man, heads would have rolled in Detroit. Guys would have been fired, blah, blah, blah. But they did it. They did it, and they're in, and that's all that matters. Anaheim got the Pacific Division title by Ryan Getzlaf and Corey Perry were huge contributors for that. 2/3 of the Ducks' first line each signed a huge contract last month to stay in Anaheim. Now they have to produce. Absolutely. The Ducks opened with 2 games at Honda Center where they won 13 in a row in one stretch of the season. 13 in a row. You know how hard it is to win like 5 in a row in the NHL, and not let alone 13 at home at the Honda Center? They have a great fan base out there, believe it or not, I'm telling you. Even though like Anaheim is pretty much a suburb of LA, I mean, they got their own identity out there, and that's a hell of a job that Bruce Boudreau has done this season with those guys. I love Bruce Boudreau. He's an awesome guy. Love his rant, HBO. Detroit has won 2 of the 3 meetings this season and won the prior time these teams met in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Offense for Anaheim, 6 forward reached double digits in goals, and in the 48-game season, I think you know who those are. And of course, for the forwards for Detroit, you got Pavel Datsyuk and Henrik Zetterberg again have been absolutely phenomenal. Johan Franzen is a beast in front of the net on the power play. It's impossible to move. He's the mule. But the rookie is Damian Brunner. 27, has adjusted well in his first North American season, and he has played important games in the Swedish Elite League for the World Championship. One wild card for the Red Wings is Todd Bertuzzi, another thug who should be locked in jail, in my opinion, who missed most of the season with a back injury. He's close to full health. On the blue line for Anaheim, you get Francois Beauchemin. Allows the most ice time on the team, draws the toughest assignments, and has one of the NHL's best plus-minus. You got Cornwall for Detroit, total of 10 points, +9 coming down the stretch. And you got the aging Sheldon Sure, a free agent signing this summer. He's been steady. Danny DeKeyser earlier this month, after 3 seasons at Western Michigan University, made his Detroit NHL debut. Good for him. Now, goaltending is a little bit interesting here for Anaheim. Jonas Hiller is probably going to be the number one guy. He arrived in town following the 2007 Stanley Cup win. He eventually claimed the job from Jean-Sebastien Giguère. Strong performance. But now they got this other Swedish guy. I can't pronounce his name. I don't want, I'm afraid to butcher it, but usually I butcher names anyway, so what the hell, I'll give it a shot. Fast. This guy, Fast, the big guy for Anaheim, who was less than 6 months younger than Hiller, was brought from Sweden with the intention of giving the Swiss counterpart a few additional rests. So we'll see who starts right there. I think it'll be Jonas Hiller. For Detroit, you got Jimmy Howard. His past 16 playoff games, he's allowed 2 or more goals in 15 of them. Awesome. Head coach Bruce Boudreau for Anaheim took over after the 11-12 season when the Ducks in a tailspin and won 3 of his first 14 games. They didn't make the playoffs, but he really got things going. He got things going, and you can see the results right now with this Anaheim team as they're the second seed in the playoffs. And you got Mike Babcock. He's won championships all over the place. Special teams, power play number 4 for the Red Wings. For the Ducks. Getzlaf scored 3 of the team's 4 short-handed goals. With the man avenged, Detroit scoring 8 of its 15 goals on the PP. Drum roll. My prediction in this series, I got Ducks in 5. Why? Why? Solid goaltending. Jonas Hiller. Jimmy Howard hasn't really showed me much. He's been pretty good, but he's been shaky at times. I don't know much about the Western Conference, so I'm not going to break it down piece by piece and give you an in-depth look. I'm just kind of throwing them out there because we didn't get a chance to see the Western Conference this year, being on the East Coast due to the lockout, where each team played each other in their division and conference. So, the only things I have written down here, my copious notes are, Howard is not that good. He is good, but he can be inconsistent, and Bruce Boudreau is the man. So with that line of thinking, and Bruce Boudreau being the man, of course, for that rant he had on 24th series in Washington, where he just, I think on the official counter, he had 15 F-bombs in what the hell was it? I don't know, like a minute or something. But that's why I'm picking him and the Anaheim Ducks to win the series against Detroit in 5 games. Horrible shot. I get more elevation on that one. All right, moving right along, we got the Vancouver Canucks and San Jose Sharks. The San Jose Sharks. The Battle of the Finns, I call it, because if you look at their logos, it doesn't have anything to do with Finnish guys or anything, but both logos have a lot of fins on them, so naturally Battle of the Finns. Number 3 seed Vancouver. Number 6 team San Jose. I like San Jose a lot in this playoffs and in the championship picture type of thing. They've been close the past few years, and I just think that it's their time coming up pretty soon. Again, I won't give away my prediction. The Sharks won 17 times and failed to earn a point twice in 24 games at HB Pavilion, which, by the way, is apparently one of the loudest buildings in the league. I went out there to visit my grandpa. He lives south of San Jose. And he said, from what he's read, it's the loudest building in the league. The fans are awesome out there. They support their teams, etc., etc. They won 8 road games, 1 in Vancouver. You got Joe Thornton, Patrick Marleau, Logan Couture, and Joe Pavelski. Those guys can score. The Canucks won the Northwest Division for the 5th straight time. I can't wait to get into the goaltending situation here, huh? 6 forwards reached double figures in goals, but no one had more than 13, and only the Sedin twins finished more with 27 points. And Josie won all 3 matchups in the regular season. Forwards for Vancouver, Henrik Sedin. He had 45 points in 48 games. His sister there, the other Sedin, did a pretty good job. Alexander Burrows, the pest, has consistently been a tremendous compliment to the offense. 24 points and a plus 15 rating this season. And what else can I tell you? Zach Cassian, he is something else too. It looks like when he gets into a fight, it looks like Jack Nicholson in The Shining when he was like in a box yelling at people. It's crazy. Okay, here we go. With the Sharks now, they got Brett Burns after trade away Brett Burns and Ryan Clough. And Brett Burns moved up to the front line, and of course all those other guys I mentioned. Joe Thornton, the best face-off man in the league. That's important coming down the stretch. And 2-time champ Scott Gomez complete a unit that has remained healthy for most of the season, but I believe Gomez is injured, so we'll have to keep an eye on that. Josh Garrison, defenseman for the Canucks, signed a 6-year, $27.6 million contract. 8 goals, 8 assists this season. Not bad for a D-man, I must say. Alexander Edler averaged nearly 24 minutes per game this season for San Jose's defense. Dan Boyle plays the most, 22 minutes a game. He has 20 points. And he won a cup with the Tampa Bay Lightning in 2004. And then you got newcomer Brad Stewart to fit in there as well. Here is the goaltending circus that is Corey Schneider versus Roberto Luongo. Luongo has been sharp when called upon, and again became the number one when Schneider went down with an undisclosed injury late in the regular season. Luongo, of course, wanted to be traded. There were rumors that his wife was in Florida, so he would go to the Panthers, maybe the Lightning, maybe Toronto. Never happened. So he's going to be the starting goaler, but he's got a hell of a guy to back him up. Another 1-2 punch goaltending tandem like Chicago for the Vancouver Canucks with Schneider as well. For the Sharks, you got Niemi, one of the best, getting 16 wins with the Chicago Blackhawks in 2010 Championship Series. He tied for the NHL lead in wins and starts, 43, was third in saves, tied for 6th in shutouts, tied for 7th in save percentage, and 7th in goals against average. He's going to be absolutely phenomenal. Coaches, you got Alain Vigneault, you got Todd McClellan, who won a cup in the minor leagues 2003 with the Houston Aeros, won a Calder Cup there, so we'll see if he can get another one to his resume. Vancouver's power play struggled, finishing 22 in the NHL, but the penalty killing was strong in the top 10. The Sharks were next to last in the NHL killing penalties last year, less than 70%. The Sharks have been successful 85% of the time. They're number 6 in the league. Power play continues to hum along, this season connecting at 20.1%. So, the number 3 seed Canucks versus the number 6 seed Sharks. Sharks in 7 I got. Why? Niemi won't be easy to beat with either Luongo or Schneider in net. Luongo is, again, probably going to get the start. Very close series. Vancouver, I think, has a tendency to take the odd penalty right here. But I just think that no matter how you break it down on paper, the Sharks are due to win a big playoff series and maybe make a push for Lord Stanley's Cup. So I got to go the winner between the Canucks and the Sharks. I got to go with San Jose, how I call them that, the Sharks in 7 games. Take it to bang. And finally, moving right along, the last but not certainly not least playoff series here, we got the St. Louis Blues. Oh, there's my bracket. Don't look. I'm going to reveal this at an appropriate time later in the playoffs. But I got the St. Louis Blues, number 4 seed, going against the number 5 seed and defending Stanley Cup champions with Jonathan Quick, Los Angeles Kings. Jeff Carter's been a beast. A beast. He's been Alexander Ovechkin West for this LA team. 26 goals, average about a half a goal more than he did last season, including last spring's sweep. The Kings have won 8 in a row against St. Louis. St. Louis closed the season on a roll, going 11-2-0 in April behind the goaltending of Brian Elliott. They also had a good fan base. These teams have met 3 times in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Okay, winning Game 1 of this series is going to be crucial for either team. The 3 previous series ended in a 4-game sweep. Okay, forwards, you got Anthony Stewart, 36 points for the Blues under Coach Ken Hitchcock, as I learned to reevaluate and relearn the English language. 10 forwards have at least 6 goals on St. Louis' side. On LA side, they're in the top half of the league in goals per game, largely because of the big season by Jeff Carter. This guy, Anze Kopitar, led the Kings in scoring for the 6th consecutive season. Mike Richards has done so as well. On defense for St. Louis, you got Alex Pietrangelo and Kevin Shattenkirk. Neither player is older than 24, and the pair formed one of the league's highest scoring defensive duos. Unbelievable. You got Jordan Leopold, that they picked up from the Buffalo Sabres, and Jay Bowmisper they got from the Flames. And you got Robin Regier, the guy who was actually born in Brazil. His parents were like missionaries or something, Canadian missionaries or something like that in Brazil, and he was born there, and he's of Brazilian heritage. So he'll be on the blue line and looking to step up big for the Kings team. In between the pipes for the Blues, you got, let's see here, you got Halak, obviously, and Brian Elliott. They seem to be pretty close pretty close. So however, look for Brian Elliott to get the start. In between the pipes for the Kings, he got Jonathan Quick to sign that huge deal. He had some injuries. He had back surgery in the offseason. Got off to a slow start, but it's proving once again why he was Conn Smythe Trophy, and he'll be looking to get another cup, and maybe, if he plays his cards right, it's another Conn Smythe Trophy. By the way, here's an interesting trivia question. Has there ever been an NHL player who won the Conn Smythe Trophy back-to-back years? Look it up and get back to me. Comment on me, look me up on Facebook, whatever. And Ken Hitchcock, he's been here, he knows how to win. Sutter knows how to win for the Kings. Doesn't he sound like an older Sylvester Stallone Sutter when he talks? Hey, yo, man, we just got to power play going, we just got to crack some heads there, win the puck battles along the boards, and, bang guys up down there. He sounds like him, I swear to God. Special teams, the Kings finish in the top 10 on the power play, and the penalty kill, for that matter. St. Louis, Patrick Berglund, who combined to score 11 out of St. Louis's 29 power play goals. And this is my last prediction so far until we move to the second round, and you'll get my next picks. But who do I like to win? I like the Blues in 7. They got Fournier. They got Fournier, and I don't think Los Angeles can pull off a 7-game series win against this tough, grinding St. Louis team. So I'm going to go with the St. Louis Blues, sending the defending Stanley Cup champions, Los Angeles Kings, and Jonathan Quick, former UMass player, out on the golf course, and I'm going to pick the Blues in 7. And that's going to do it, folks. You feel free to comment on my YouTube thingy, subscribe, whatever. Find me on Facebook at Rob Smyth, and we'll see you soon, somewhere in the near future, and I will personally break down round 2 as the hunt and the chase for Lord Stanley Cup continues. This has been another edition of What the Puck. I'm Rob Smyth. We'll see you.